अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
भाईजान तुसी मैनूं अपना नाम दस सकते?
मेरा नाम मोहम्मद असगर अंसारी।
अच्छा भाईजान तुसी दस सकते सानूं थोड़ी अपनी पैदाइशी दे बारे च?
Yes, why not? I was born in Uganda and we used to live in Uganda, Kampala, the capital of Uganda, and Kololo. Kololo is one of the where the most rich people live.
Wow.
And Kujaka Street was where our house was.
Who did you live with?
I was born there, so obviously I lived with my father, grandfather, and mother.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
No, I'm the eldest.
How many brothers and sisters did you
We
have?
are 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
And was your parents and grandparents born in Uganda?
No, my grandparents were born in Pakistan, India, place called Jalandhar, and there is from there. My grandfather comes from Kashmir, and his grandfather came from Kashmir, and then he settled in Jalandhar, and then my grandfather we got. Called a Haveli in Kartarpur, which is still there and it's known under the name of Sardar ਦੀ Haveli.
ਅੱਛਾ ਤੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਆ
ਜੀ
ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਭੈਣ ਭਰਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਏਜ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ?
ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਛੋਟਾ ਭਾਈ ਹੈ ਉਹਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਅਕਬਰ ਅੰਸਾਰੀ ਹੈ. He is about 2 years younger than me. And then was my sister Azra Shaheen Ansari. But she passed away on the 1st of November 2020. She passed away just recently. And then I got another sister, Tasneem, and then I got Naseem. And one of my brother, he's called Muhammad Tahir Ansari. He's a solicitor.
And why did your grandfather go from India to Uganda?
Yeah, that's a good question. I asked this question, I asked my grandfather. I said, when everything was all right, why did you? He said, we were some few friends, which were Hindus and Sikhs. And at that time, ships used to go to Africa. And he went on that ship, like a boy's joy. And then they came down in Nairobi. One of their friends, they started to find a job, looked for a job, and he started his business in Nairobi. And my grandfather was very much expert in furniture because he was running a furniture business in Kartarpur. So he started the work in Nairobi as well. Yeah, so then one of his friends went to Kampala, and then he came back and he said to my grandfather, I think so we should go to Kampala, and because there is more opportunity in Kampala than Nairobi. So my grandfather with his friend, they went to Kampala, and his friend opened a grocery shop, and my grandfather started a furniture business there, small factory type. He started from there, and people who come from Uganda, they will know near Odeon Selma on Kampala Road, there used to be a small land. It was till 1995 that land was still empty. That was the place my grandfather started from.
What was your name? What was your grandfather's name?
Sardar Muhammad. And our factory name was Sardar Muhammad and Company. And then he opened his factory in 6th Street, Kampala. But that was after a long time. So when he went down to Kampala from Nairobi, then he worked very hard. He employed few labor, and he worked because he was a very expert in furniture and all this. Very soon he picked up. And then Alhamdulillah, he furnished a lot, and his first showroom which he opened was on Bomba Road, next to Caltex petrol pump. On the corner, he opened his showroom, and from there, Alhamdulillah, he furnished, and then he got the land in 6th Street in industrial area, Kampala, and alhamdulillah, he was the one of the biggest furniture makers of Uganda.
What type of furniture did he make?
Every kind of furniture. At that time, his furniture used to go to Congo, Kenya, Tanzania, even up to South Africa. He used to go, and very hardworking, very well. And even all the Smileys used to buy from him. Mostly Smileys were his customers. And even from Congo, Kenya, anywhere in Uganda, Smiley will come to my grandfather to buy. He said, I will go to Sardar Bhai and get the furniture from him.
And did your dad work here as well?
My dad was he educated in Jalandhar from Islamia College. He was in his second year when they left Jalandhar and came to Pakistan. Then my father was, because he was in education, so he went into government job.
What did he do?
And first he started from PWD. From there he went to one of the ministries of finance. And from there he went down into the ministries which were for foreign affairs, and he was a chief executive for that one. And all the foreign aid comes to Uganda from all abroad. He used to come through him. Yeah. But alhamdulillah, he never touched a penny. He was so honest. And he worked on that, on his wage. His wage was very good at that time. At that time, 1,000 shillings a month was too much with a free house. Then we shifted down to Nairobi. But my childhood, I started from Kololo, and I went to Aga Khan School in Kololo. And then from there, we shifted down to Entebbe. And then in Entebbe, I went to Lake Victoria School. And from there, till 1963-4, I was there. And then we migrated because Uganda got the independence, and the rumors was there that they are going to kick Asians out. So my father thought to take us safely first to Pakistan, and he brought us down to Pakistan.
Can you tell me about your earliest childhood memories?
Yes, my good memories in Kololo. There are a lot of memories there. That land used to be very view. Our house was on the corner, and there was a big landscape down there. And I was a bit, say you can say, a naughty child as well. And I used to sit on my dad's car and drive it when it was locked. And once I opened the brake, it went down the hill. Anyhow, alhamdulillah, the driver came running and he caught the car and stopped us there.
How old was you?
I think so, might be 3, 4 years or 5 years old, that's all. That's 5 years, 5, 6 years old. It's just terrible experience. So I can still remember that. And
you were saying that when you was in Uganda, you moved to quite different places. What was the reason for you moving?
Because my father, he got been transferred, because when they gave him promotion, they had to transfer him from one to another place. And then Ministry of Foreign Affairs was in Entebbe, where he went as an administrator.
And how old was you then when you was living in Entebbe?
Yeah, I was about 7, 8 years old. So
you were 7 or 8 years old, and you just started at a new school. How did that feel?
Changing schools was very difficult, you know that. Because when you change school, then you go to another school. Then it's new subjects, all the subjects. Anyhow, our changing was done, and I used to pick up my class very quickly. But then I used to miss my friends from Khoja friends from Kampala. Slowly, then I got used to Entebbe. But in Entebbe, you not used to be a lot of Asians. There was only few Asians in Entebbe.
Did you feel like you was treated differently? Was you treated differently, or did you feel like everybody treated you?
No. There was no difference in treatment. That was okay. And we used to play with all those Europeans and Africans, and we used to play with Khojas and Gujaratis and everybody else. We used to go to everybody's house as well, play.
Which was your favourite subject?
Favorite subject in school or in my college?
We'll carry on with school for now. We'll move on to college in a minute.
Yeah. School, I used to do, but that time there were no much subjects, you see. Mathematics I used to do, which was, alhamdulillah, was very good. And then geography and some parts of history. At that time was these few subjects, and science was not in that class at the moment, because it was we was 6th, 7th class, so it was not many subjects allowed.
And what was your secondary school like?
My secondary school was in Entebbe, was the same Lake Victoria, but that was it was a secondary school near the Lake Victoria. So it was very good, nice school. We used to go 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 there. Then we used to have a break from 12 to 2 o'clock. And sometimes we used to go home. Sometimes we used to stay there with the friends. And then I used to climb on the tree to get the imli down. All my friends used to wait for me for it. So anyhow, I was a favorite for my class that climbed tree. I was very fast in climbing trees. So anyhow, that is childhood. We played a lot, and still.
After you used to finish school at 2 o'clock and you'd come home?
No, 2 o'clock. We finished 12 o'clock.
Sometimes you said you went back to school?
We went back to school at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4. Then school used to be 2 to 4. And then after 4 o'clock, we used to come home. But we used to stay in school sometimes from 12 to 2 o'clock. We used to stay.
And what did you used to do once you got home?
Used to do the homework, but mostly the homework we had done at 2 to 4. Yeah. Between 12 and 2, we used to finish the homework there, sitting with the friends and finishing the homework. We used to do each other's homework as well. And then we used to play around. And we used to go spellings. We used to test each other's spellings. And I used to do most of the class fellows' mathematics. They used to do my other job, English.
And once you got home, did you go to masjid?
Yes, once we get home, then there was not masjid, but there was a small madrasa. It was a Bora who had running a shop, plus he had a small room behind the shop where he used to teach us Quran Sharif. So I started my reading namaz and Quran Sharif from there. But
was it mixed or was it just for boys?
No, boys and girls were all there. But that was not sitting all together. Separate lines used to be. Sit down along those pattes and sit down on those, on the mat and all this. Because he was from Bombay, so he had made that Indian type madrasa.
And what did you used to do in your spare time? What did you enjoy doing?
Many things. I used to go for fishing.
Okay, where did
you
fish?
Small, I was very fond of fishing. I used to have fish tank at home and get more of Lake Victoria. You see, you can catch many fishes. You just walk into the water, catch fishes. I used to get my mom's dubata when we go for picnic there and get all those fishes down and bring at home in fish tank. Make gulails, go for birds. And get bird. I used to catch parrots. I had 3 parrots at home, and I had a cat.
How old was you when you had these animals?
Animals, I was 7, 8 years old.
7, 8.
More than 8 years. And then I used to go with scouts. First I was a cub. I was a patrol leader in the cub. Then we went up to Scouts. Then I was patrol leader of my Scouts, and my team was called Dove Scouts. And then we used to go for camping and all these things we used to do. We used to do bonfire. We used to play bonfires, and we used to do a lot of activities we used to do there. We used to do bobby job.
What job's that?
Bobby job.
What was that?
Bobby job was when we have holidays, then all the scouts used to go to people's house and do a job like wash a car, do anything, cleaning up, or do fagia, something like that. Yeah. So, and that they used to give you a bob. Bob is called 1 shilling. So bobby job we used to do. You won't believe me. 2 times I got once I got a silver, and second time I got a gold star for that one. When I got a silver, I started to find out who did more than me, and I said to my scout master, I said, show me who's here. I want to see everybody's card, because I thought I did more jobs. Yeah. Because I used to do on Sunday, I used to do 3, 4 jobs. Saturday also to get more marks, get a gold mark. Star.
But you finally got your gold star.
I used to got first star 2 times. Once only I got silver, and that time I made padda. I said, why I got silver? I did more. Yeah. Used to do the polish, Goren de Karjana. We used to polish their shoes, get one bob for their shoes. We used to go there, bobby job.
What was
I had a lot of stars. I was a patrol leader of my scout club as well.
Mashallah.
And go for camping. We used to walk about 5, 6 miles. We used to go to camping from Entebbe to Kusumi. From there we used to climb the hill, and then from there we used to get down to Lake Victoria, and then there we used to put camps and stay there. And bandars used to come there, monkeys and all.
Can you remember the experience of the wildlife there?
Oh yeah, beautiful.
What can you tell us about the wildlife?
Many experiences I have about this wildlife. During the scoutings, we used to play with, mostly we had to have too much disturbed by the monkeys. When you used to wash your dishes and everything and put them here, though they used to come and pick up sometimes. So we used to keep one person sitting down there, and we used to wash them and put on the rock to dry, and then take up to the camp. And once my small experience with my father, my mother, my uncles, we went for safari, and we had a small camp type part, and I went in the jungle, and I picked up a small shears cab, and I brought down to our place, and my uncle came, Khalak, he has passed away. He came running down, and he shouted on me. He said, why you brought this? He's going to come here and he's going to make us. So my uncle picked it up, and he ran, and he went and left where I brought it from, a small cub of the shear. So I was like that.
You was very lucky.
Did you? Because she was gone somewhere and the cubs were there. Like this, I went to the governor's house in Entebbe. And anyhow, that was, his son was my friend. So I brought a puppy from there, Alsatian puppy. That stayed till 1997, it was still there. I left it then to my grandfather's place. But it was a very beautiful dog.
What can you tell me about the environment that you lived in?
Actually, I lived in very nice environment. Because we was one of the richest peoples in Entebbe, Kampala. So my environment was very restricted one as well, you can say. You can't do this, you can't go this, you can't go here, you can't go out with someone like this, you can't go. So there were some restrictions, and there was enjoyments as well. But every Sunday we used to go to drive-in cinema. We used to get ready every Sunday.
The family?
Family. And we all friends used to meet there in Kampala on drive-in cinema. So we were looking for Sunday to come and go there, have samosas and bhajiyas and all these things. No? All this. Everybody used to bring one dish, two dishes when we goes to, and then they used to have the speakers were all near the car. Driving cinema, you know that the speakers are near, and then they used to put a mat down there, and we all friends used to run and go away and get near there, far near the canteen or somewhere else, put the mats, and we used to play around there.
And it sounds like you had a good time.
Alhamdulillah, my childhood was very good, very good.
After your childhood, you finished secondary school. Then where did you go?
Secondary school, I just finished the secondary school, and then we were brought down to Pakistan.
How old was you then?
I was 13 years old.
How must that have felt at the age of 13, leaving everything that you know?
Oh, I used to cry every day. Tell my mom that I want to go back, we want to go to, and my mom used to lie to me and say, oh no, we'll go next month back, we will go next month, but your dad is on his way, is this and that.
What part of Pakistan did you move to?
Sargodha.
And did you get the ferry there?
Pardon?
The ferry, did you get from Uganda to
No, from Uganda we went to Mombasa. From Mombasa we took a ship, and I still remember the ship named Karanja, and we came in Karanja to Karachi. I still remember our moment there. From Karachi, then we took train to Sargodha. Chanab used to go to Sargodha straight. We stayed 2 days in Karachi, and I still remember the hotel was called Kashmir Hotel in Karachi city. And then from Karachi city we went to Sargodha, and Sargodha then my eldest uncle was there to receive us, and then they took all the things out they got caught, and then we went to our house, and that was our grandfather's house where everybody used to live. So a big house, about 14 rooms in it, down and upstairs. It was 3 stories. At that time everybody used to live together. So everybody was living together. Everybody had a 1 room, 2 rooms. And the food was all together cooked by my grandmother, and sharing was done by my aunties and my mom. Then slowly everybody had to cook their own. But starting was very hard. Tell you the truth, starting 2 years in Pakistan was very hard.
What was hard for you?
It was hard, this, change of climate. And then when summer came, I got sick. And I got typhoid, and I got this and that. Start by this, and then missing school, and then I picked up. Then slowly I picked up.
How did it feel coming from somewhere where you had so many different cultures, so many different people from different minorities, and then going to Pakistan and just seeing Pakistani people?
And I was caged.
Tell me, how did you feel?
I was caged.
You felt caged?
Well, caged. This is the truth I'm telling you today. I was not happy there.
Was the food different from Uganda to Pakistan?
Yeah, it was different.
How was it different?
Even milk was different for us. We couldn't drink milk, and because in Africa we used to have cow milk, and in Pakistan is buffalo milk. And food was food wise was meat was this better, same thing, or more or less. Vegetable was more or less same, so dala and this and that. And the second thing happened, we went there in 1964, and 1965 war started. 65 war started.
So you left 1 year just before the war?
Yeah, war started in Pakistan. Pakistan-India war started in 1965, 6th of September. That day, I had 150 4 temperature of my typhoid. And I was lying on the bed when the first plane attack was done in Sargodha. And everybody was going to the crunches, going to the khanda, and I was left there at home in the Diori. And my mom said, she was with me. My grandmother was with me there as well, in the Diori. And then, but Alhamdulillah, I came out through. Then we used to go up on the 3rd floor to see the dog fight of the planes. I seen the planes fighting each other like this, up and down. And my grandmother and my mom used to shout, "Come down, you will." My uncle, elder uncle, Deen Muhammad, used to shout on us and get down, come down, you will get hurt, And we used to see that up from the 3rd floor on the top.
Did the war, besides seeing those things, what impact did it have on you and your family?
First starting was a bit scary, but when we heard that we are going forward and we have done very good, then we got braved.
And after this was whilst this was going on, how was you keeping yourself occupied? How was you keeping your life being normal?
Yeah, life was normal because near our house there was a mosque. So we go to 5-time prayers there, and then with the Maulvi, I got a room up in the mosque, and I cleaned it up, and we started reading, teaching children's Quran Sharif as well. So I started that one as well. And I used to do 4-time azan there, and children used to come and read Quran Sharif, and my sisters used to read Quran Sharif, and they used to call me Baijan. So everybody who used to come to read Quran Sharif used to call me Baijan. Even elders used to read, they used to call me Baijan. Everybody in that mahalla used to call me Baijan.
When did you go to college?
I did my matric 1968 from Sargodha. I went to Sargodha Cantonment Public High School.
Okay.
Then I went to Lahore, FC College Lahore.
What made you go to Lahore?
I wanted to get out from Sargodha. Actually, I was tied up. Yeah, I wanted to get out. But I have played very good. I played a lot of things in Sargodha as well. In some movements I was there. Because I can't disclose you that movements. There was political movements, but I was there. Then I went to Lahore.
So at the age of 17, was you about 17 when you went to Lahore?
I was about 16, 17 years old at that time. And then from there I went
Who did you go to Lahore with?
On my own.
Wow.
But my uncle used to live in Lahore. Okay. My dad's friend, he used to live in Lahore. So we went there. And I was, his father is actually not his real father, it was his Khalu, who was the Registered Police of Punjab. So going to Lahore was not difficult for me, because I was escorted by one of the Thanedars all the time. So he was a registered, Yawar Hussain Trimzi, he was the registered police of Punjab at that time, of West Pakistan, and then it became Pakistan was divided, then he was for Punjab. So it was no difficulties for me I stayed in their house for a long time. So then I moved on.
So by the age of 17, you'd seen quite a lot of different changes from living in Uganda to then living in Sargodha and then moving to the city of Lahore. How were they all different to each other?
Mostly was this, you see, when I did my matric, then I went to Africa back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who did you go to stay with in Africa?
My uncle was there, my grandfather was there, so I stayed with them. So then I went to came back. Then when in my college time, I went back in 1970.
Where did you go back to in 1970?
Back to Uganda, and stayed there with my uncle and my grandfather. And so then it was a long time because Pakistan and India had went into war when Bangladesh was formed. So but I was in 96, actually 70 is the beginning. So I stayed there, and then one of the showroom which was on Bombo Road, I used to manage that one. And that one, and I used to drive the car, and then I told my grandfather to buy me a car. So 545 Peugeot was my first car I bought. There my grandfather bought for me. And same time my uncle, Muhammed Ansari, he also wanted it because I got a car out and he wanted a car. So he went for Mercedes. So he got a Mercedes at that time. And then she had a Mercedes.
So by the 1970s in Uganda, the war's over, everything's more calm?
70, everything went calm in 1971. So I was in 1970, I was there in Uganda.
And what was the environment like? What was the political side like? And
political side was because Idi Amin was there, and I had my grandfather, we had a contract for Idi Amin's office as well. I have met Idi Amin like you are sitting. And my grandfather delivered the furniture there. I went with my grandfather, and we had a lot of talkings. And the first, if I come back to the first president, Mr. Milton Obote, he was also my father's friend. He used to come in Entebbe to our house as well, because we have 1 Wilson Street. Our house used to be on the corner, the big house, and from there you go up towards the governor house. So that is now President House now. So the road used to go from our house. Our house was on the corner of that one. So you used to come for samosa.
And what more can you tell me about this?
What about which one you want to know?
About
Uganda.
Uganda.
I've seen a lot of places in Uganda. We have done safaris. I've gone to a lot of places of Africa, Mali. I've gone to Kenya, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam.
How did you manage to travel to all these different places? Because I had a hobby, or I had a passion to travel. So, and I was my grandfather's ladla as well. Okay.
So I was given all this opportunity to be done. At that time, people never had a pair. Every time I used to carry $2,000 to $5,000 in my pocket at that time.
How did it feel leaving all your family in Pakistan and coming back to Uganda to stay with just your uncle and your granddad?
I got a lot of love from them. I got a love with family as well, but love. Then I had a control of one of the showrooms, which was Bombo Road ones. And I had 2-3 workers there under me, and I was like a boss on them. Plus, I used to say, I want to go this here, no problem, have the driver go. Then I got my own car then. I used to go on my own.
Can you remember your driving test? Can you remember doing a driving test? So was it quite flexible there then?
Very flexible.
Okay.
I used to drive in Pakistan as well, and I had no problem in driving, you see. So I had a passion to driving, so I learned very fast. So I passed. But in UK, when I came in UK, I passed my test. First time she failed me. The inspector, and he was called, I remember his still name, Shepherd. He was Shepherd, he failed me. Why he failed me? He said, you are too confident. He said, I'm going to fail you this time because you are overconfident. So he failed me for being overconfident because I kept my hand like this. The second time when I did my test, I was like this, the car is going to run away from me, and they passed me.
How long did you stay in Uganda before you came to UK, and why did you come to UK?
No, in 1971 I went back to Pakistan from Kampala. From Kampala I went back to Pakistan, but when the war finished, because my education was still going on now, so I finished my education. So when I went in 1970, at that time I was in my education in Pakistan. I had finished my FSc and I've gone to Nishta College, but due to some political reasons I left the college. Then I came and joined Institute of Leather Technology in Gujranwala. And that college name was Modern Tailoring and Footwear Center. So, but when I was elected as a General Secretary of the Union, then we had a strike and brought the name back to Institute of Leather Technology. And Hanif Rame came, who was the Minister of Industry. And we had a lot of, that was political side, a lot of political playgrounds I played around there. And then during that time, because the war started, I was in Uganda. And then in 1971, I came back from Uganda. But when I came back, the war finished. I told my grandfather that I want to go for Hajj now. First I wanted to do Umrah, but that time Hajj came, January. So from Uganda, I went to Jeddah on my own.
At the age of about 21?
No, 18 years old. 19. And I did my first Hajj in 1971.
MashaAllah.
On my own, plus I was there. Then the Mollam I stayed with was, he was Bairuti, and his cousin family was there. First they gave me a room, then they allocated me with their own house room, because I was alone. So they used to teach me Arabic, and I used to teach them Urdu and English. So these things used to go down there. And they used to call me Ada Haji, and I said no, full Haji. So like this, we used nice time passed in Makkah as well.
How long did you stay there?
In Makkah, I stayed about 15 days. And then from there, when we did Hajj, Arafat, Muzdalifah, and then Mina, I stayed in the Maulam's house as well. I didn't stay in the camp. They kept me in their house. So we were all, their children were very friendly with me, boys and girls, everybody was very friendly with me. And then I stayed with them. And from there, we came back to Makkah, and I stayed in their house. And then from there, I went to Medina. This I did everything alone. You see, nobody was there to guide. But Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala showed me. Then I went to Medina, I stayed in a hotel. And then that time was, I've seen the old Makkah as well. I've seen the old Medina as well. I've seen Makkah at that time when they didn't have the power of oil. 71, they didn't have. Saudi Arab was very poor country at that time, was not so rich as it is now. And I've seen the Arafat Madan, where we used to, now they are all toilets, everything down there. At that time there was nothing. We had to walk very far away with the cans and get the water from the tankers and come back to our camp and all these things. I've done all like that. That Hajj I've done. And in Medina also, there was where the hotel we stayed. They at night we needed water I wanted to go for Fajr, but there was no water there. So because the water was going to come from Jeddah, and the tanker didn't arrive. So that's I've seen Saudi in that sense as well. The part of Saudi, old history of Saudi, I know all what it is.
MashaAllah.
Because they didn't have much funds, not much resources, and all their resources were dependent, and old buses, old kind of buses, and they used to have this GM jeeps, and then I traveled on GM jeeps mostly, because GM jeeps was only few people could afford them. So, but Alhamdulillah, I had a lot of money with me, so I had no problem. Just cashed what I wanted, and then I went. But Alhamdulillah, I did the Hajj very nicely at that time as well, very comfortably.
MashaAllah.
And then Medina, I stayed alone. Medina Masjid Nabawi at that time was a small one, not a big as it is now. And the expenses, when it was expanded in 1990, I was there at that time as well. I went for my second Hajj at that time. So 1971, I remember all Medina and Makkah. I still remember them. And then all those places which they have now demolished, I've seen all those places. I had some photos of them, but I don't know where I've kept them. I had a lot of photos. I had a camera because I always had passion of taking photos, I always had a photo camera, yes, photography. And I always had my camera I had Canon, I had Asia Pentax. That was the best camera. Asia Pentax was the best camera at that time.
Where did you go after that?
Then after that, I came down to Pakistan. From there, I finished my leather technology. And then I went down for this senior citizen civil service exams, and I passed one of my exams there. And when I went for training in Islam Rawalpindi, and from there I went to Karachi as a section officer.
What does a section officer do?
It's for leather export, quality controller. But then I left the job.
What made you leave the job?
Pay was very little, but there was pay. Beside pay, there was a bribe in it, too much, and I didn't take it. And then I had a argument with my officer. So I said, I'm not going to do the job. I resigned. 1 year they've been putting the pay in my bank in Karachi. It's still there. My money is still there. He didn't take my requisition. He just still my pay is there in Karachi bank. I didn't take out my pay.
What happened after you left that job?
I left that job in Karachi. Then I started another job. So I couldn't work for another person. Then I started my own firm called Ramco. And Ramco was the firm which we used to do doorstep service. Doorstep service was for this air-conditioned fridge and fans. We used to make membership, and then members used to get once a year checked up all their equipments.
Service.
Yeah, all equipments, and which equipments needed service, we used to do them. And we used to do service, used to be part of your membership, but and any parts to be put in, you have to pay for that. Alhamdulillah, that was also a very good job.
Is that in Karachi?
In Karachi. Ramco was my firm's name.
And in which year did you decide to come to UK?
Yeah, in 1979, I got a call from I'd say embassy. It was I was granted this voucher. So I got a special voucher. It was immigration officer, Mr. Gray, who gave me this special officer voucher to come to UK.
Why did you manage to get a voucher? How?
My interview went very well with him.
Very good.
Yeah.
At this age, did you decide, that's it, I'm coming to UK? And
yeah, but when I decided to come to UK, because I was doing two jobs in Karachi. One, I was in insurance, state life insurance, and one, I was running my own business as well. This is Ramco. So in state life, when we started the 3 payment plan in Pakistan State Life, at that time, for the 3 payment plan, I was in that committee as well. That is a very, very good plan, which is very, very, very successful still in Pakistan, 3 payment plan. So I know too much about it. So I can tell you something. If I try telling you about that, it will take you hours about that. It's a very good big plan. So then all of my friends said, don't go. But two, three things had happened with me, and I was very much disheartened. One, I trusted somebody, and he was my worker, and I made him a manager and gave him all the facilities in my Ramco. He let me down at that time, and he took all the money and went back to Lahore, which disheartened me. And he did not pay the labor on the Eid day. And when I went back from Sargodha to Karachi, I was decided I didn't want to keep anybody's pay, so I decided to close down. And when I say I want to leave, I leave. I don't play around then. I don't hit behind the bushes. What I say, it is done. If I leave anything, I don't care what it is, I leave it. And it's been my principle still now. And I've been called stubborn in my house.
Okay.
My family calls me, you're too stubborn. But I stick to my rules.
So in 1979?
Yeah, September 12, 79, I arrived on Heathrow.
Who did you come with?
I came on my own. On the plane, I was with, Wahid Murad and his family was sitting in front of me. And his children, both girls were playing with me all the way.
And you got to UK?
Yeah, I go to
Heathrow.
UK, and my father was waiting for me at Heathrow. And then he took me down to Worthing, because my father used to live in Worthing. So I went to
all your family here?
No, they are. At that time, no one was here. Only my uncle was here.
Okay.
So Worthing, I stayed about 2 months, 3 months. But Worthing was, at that time, no Asians there.
How did you find it there?
I found it very hard.
What was difficult?
Difficult was this, I went for 1 or 2 more jobs. And being my experience in my job, they didn't give me that one. They said, we'll take you as a labor and then we'll give you, we'll see what you do. And then I said, okay, keep it with you, I don't want it. Then I went to Brighton. I used to go to Brighton and have to look for a job. But I couldn't work for somebody like that, when you have got people working for you. And then I said, then I made my dad said, go to your uncle in Rochdale. So
was this still in 1979?
No, 1980 now.
1980.
September I arrived and I came in Rochdale. No, 79, yeah. I came in December. 79 in December I came to Rochdale. So my uncle picked up. I came on a bus, National Express, from London to Rochdale.
What was your first impression of Rochdale?
First impression was not such bad, but I saw a lot of people in Rochdale. So my uncle used to live on Brotherhood Road, Hall Road, and so he had a hotel restaurant in Manchester, called Baghdad Restaurant on Oldham Road in Piccadilly, near Piccadilly. So he used to take me there sometimes, and then I joined Oldham College of Technology. I did my electronics diploma from there. So when I was in Rochdale, so Habib Bank was here. And the manager at that time on Habib Bank, he was one of my old friends from Pakistan, Karachi. When I saw him down there, I said, oh, you are here? He said, yes, I'm here. We used to meet each other at Karachi airport. And my other friend, who was my good friend, he was called, I won't tell you his name, but he was he had been married to a royal family of Bahawalpur. So we were very good friends, and then he was the manager there as well in one of the branches, Habib Bank branch. So then I saw him here. Then he said, okay, you come down. So when I was free, I used to come down here. And then I used to work in Habib Bank as well. On the counter, I used to do remittance forms filling and all this. And I used to get paid at that time. He used to pay me. So I could get my jeep kharch. By that time, I was also studying in Oldham.
You was a mature student at
Yeah.
Oldham. How did that feel?
Starting, I felt a bit, but because I had a passion of electronics and this thing, so I didn't feel me too much about it. So I just kept myself to the studies. And boys, there were 2-3 boys. English boys were very good. They used to help me out, and we used to talk to each other and give everybody all this guidance of what we are doing and this.
How did you find the English culture when you came here?
It was not different for me, because I have been in very high societies. You won't believe me, I have been very, very high societies. So this English culture was nothing for me. Because if I see that one, here also I've been to very high society, that is okay. But this was lower than which I've been. So you see in Uganda, I still president and prime minister's office, I can just walk in. So in Pakistan also, I had high societies and everything. So these things didn't make me different. But when I left Pakistan, one we call our Ustad, he was holy Ustad, holy. He told me took a promise for me that you go to England, don't go. Even if you go to America, don't go in politics. Because I paid a lot of politics in Pakistan, so he said, don't go now in politics. Because you are the straight and you won't be well there.
So you stayed away from politics?
Yes, here. No, I came here and I joined Conservatives. And Lord Warrington, we called him on Drake Street, used to be our office. Lord Warrington came down there and we had a good meeting with him. He was the Ministry of, I think, the Foreign Affairs at that time. Then afterwards I saw there was too much kachra in this politics here as well. So I came out. I told him, because I had promised my Ustad, holy Ustad, and then I just came out. After that I kept myself quite covered and lonely.
And so at the age of 28, you're in Rochdale with your dad and your uncle.
My dad was still there in Worthing.
Your dad was in Worthing.
Yeah.
You was in Rochdale with your uncle. When did all the family come back together?
Family came back very late. They came back in 69, after 68, 69 they came. No, not 68, 69. They came back at about 70, 90, 86. Yeah, 88, 90, in 90s they came back. 90s.
Did they stay in Worthing or?
No, they came to Rochdale.
Okay. By the 1990s, had your dad come to Rochdale?
Yeah, 1990s my dad came down to Rochdale and I told him to stop doing work there, and he came down to Rochdale. And then he stayed with me. And 1981, I opened this laundrette on Mixton Road.
What made you want to do that? And just tell me, just going back, in between the gap of 1979 and 1990, a lot must have happened in
A lot
that
of
time.
things happened.
Is there
I went to
anything
the
you'd like to share?
orange.
Anything you'd like to share with us?
That's what can I just worked hard, very hard. 1980s when 79 I came to Rochdale. Till 80s I was in Oldham College, 81, but in between that time because I was part-time student there, then I started doing work, and I started markets as well. At that time markets used to be, and then I did manufacturing under the name of KTF Fashions, where we only made blouse and dresses and skirts. And then I did markets. Then after markets, when I started seeing when Asghar started selling clothing, so I noticed that there's not going to be any future for markets. So then I got this place on Milkston Road, this laundrette. But I was going to pull this laundrette out and make an office. But when I got some people to pull it out, they were asking too much money to pull it out. So I said, okay, I'll leave the laundrette as it is, keep it running, but it was very, 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 very bad in condition. So I called one or two people around here and who were already running the laundrettes. They did not cooperate with me. So anyhow, there was one of my friends, he gave me a number of a mechanic, engineer, and he was a Jew. And he came down and he was called Martin. And he worked for me. He repaired all my machines, he reconditioned all of them. And I paid him on installments because I didn't have much money. But he was a very good man. He did all my jobs. And because you remember a nice person who has been with you, who has helped you out in hard days, you always keep remember. Whether religion is not a part of that. So he really helped me a lot. He didn't charge me extra, but he took money from me in installments, and whatever I used to earn, I used to give him some as well. And then we slowly I built it took me a long time to build my business. It's been nearly 40 years now running. Alhamdulillah, it's one of the top now. We are in the Mala Association. I'm one of the top laundrettes in Mala Association.
It must keep you very busy.
Yes, mashallah, alhamdulillah, it's very busy. Very hard work. Very hard work. But now it's electronic, everything, this way I can manage a lot of things on it.
So your laundrette, you've had that for so many years. What do you like to do in your spare time? Do you have any?
I don't have any spare time.
No.
First I used to work 7 days a week. Now I only work Monday to Saturday. And now I want to get it spare. I want to catch up with my childhood and my all yada. I want to go back to Africa and get all the catch-ups. It's nothing there now, nothing much there now, but still you got your own yade, what you have missed there.
Have you ever been back to Uganda?
I've been many times.
How was it different?
Very different.
What's changed?
A lot of change. But still, I had a lot of contacts there.
At what age did you last go to Uganda?
Last I went to Uganda in 2000.
Did you go with family?
No, alone. Not only in 2000, then after that I went in 2005, then I went in 2007.
Okay. Do you still have any property there?
I can't tell you that.
Okay. How did you feel it had changed so much?
It's changed a lot. How can I tell you? How?
The environment, the people?
People have changed there, environment has changed there. But still, when I go down there, I meet my old friends. Sudhir, he's the owner of Screen Bank. And then Tiku, who is the owner of Capital Finance. All this, we get together always on one night on Thursday. When I go there, mostly on Saturday or Thursday night, we get together. So,
do you feel like you've been betrayed by the government of Uganda?
It's taken everything of ours, isn't it? Taken everything. It's very hard beating. My grandfather had worked so hard. We had a flat on Mango Road, house on Kijaka Street, furniture factory on 6th Street, Kampala, all lost. plus the money which was in the bank. Even this Barclay Bank didn't give our money back. They wanted papers and all this. They didn't work on the book. They wanted the more papers for that, which we never got from Uganda, because when they did looting there, everything was looted. When I went back to Uganda in 1996, I went back. And everything we had lost. Most of the things that we have lost.
How do you feel when you go back to Uganda now?
Your memories, they come back, they hurt you a lot. Memories are I call the memories, they are the biggest dushman of human. When they bite you very badly. Any memories you have, they bite you very badly. And you get bitten. I have gone through heart bypass because of all these memories. 4 heart bypass. Then now I've got stents in my heart. I got a pacemaker now because the memories keep hurting you. When the memories hurt you, then it hurts a lot.
So now, Baijan, you need to think about some good memories.
Good memories were all, yes, I always think about good. I don't think about
good.
That I always think, because I said that might be Allah Mia has put you in an exam.
Yeah.
That might be your exam. Give the exam here is better. In the grave, don't wait for the exam. Grave be your bed of flowers.
Inshallah. I don't want to make you upset, but what happened to your grandma and granddad?
My grandma, she was in Pakistan. She passed away in Pakistan. But my grandfather was killed by his own guard and his own driver. And that was because we used to tell our grandfather, please do not put money in front of him in the safe. But my grandfather did not listen. He used to carry cash. And in one of the showrooms, there used to be a big safe. And because that driver who was my grandfather had brought him up as a child. He was a child. My grandfather brought him up as a child and taught him driving, and he was his chauffeur. But he changed after. My grandfather used to have a security man with him always, all the time. But the security people changed him because he fell ill, or I don't know what happened to him, or he went through. So there was another security man came down. So he was there at that time. Then they asked my grandfather for the keys of the safe. My grandfather didn't give him the keys. At that time, the shift was finished in the factory. Everybody had gone home. My uncle had gone home. And my grandfather was alone, and these two people. And my grandfather was getting ready to go home as well when they asked for the secured keys, and he did not give the keys, and then they hit him very badly. And they hit him on his back with the panga. Panga is a big knife.
Yeah.
And then...
How old?
And then... this Yusuf used to work in Yusuf Arain, He used to work opposite of a factory, Coca-Cola factory. And my grandfather came out from the office, and then he sent somebody to call him. And then he called my uncle from home. And then...
How old was your grandfather when this happened?
He was about approximately 81 years old, I think so. 80 or 81 years old.
And were the two people convicted?
The time they were convicted, actually, Idi Amin had kicked out Asians out. But we came to know that they were both shot. They shot them. So, what use? We lost our grandfather. We lost Uganda. We came back, started from scratch in this country.
Did you ever go on any holidays with the family?
Yeah, we used to go.
Can you tell us about some of them?
My father, when they used to go to Mombasa,
Yeah.
and go to Mombasa for holidays on that Kiani beach or the beach. We were very young at that time, and we used to play in the beach, and they used to stay. Then we used to go safaris and all these things. In Kampala also, we did a lot of safaris, and go to the jungles, see the animal wildlife and this and that. We used to stay there as well. This Murchison Falls and all these safaris I have seen in my childhood. People have just seen now. I've seen all these things in my childhood.
And did you manage to ever go on any holidays when you went to Pakistan?
Yeah, my holidays we used to go to Uganda. No? I used to go to Uganda 2 times. I went to Uganda, and the second time when I went to Uganda, there was a India and Pakistan war when there was fall of Bangladesh. And that was a long time, the flights were closed. So that time I did my first Hajj in 1971. And that was my holy holiday, my first Hajj. Alhamdulillah, I did on my own. I performed everything on my own.
MashaAllah. And when you came to UK, did you ever manage to go on any holidays once you settled here?
I used to go a lot to Dubai. And Dubai, I started a small business as well, bed and breakfast. In Uganda also I had a big bed and breakfast.
When did you have your bed and breakfast in Uganda?
96, 97.
Okay.
And in Dubai also I had on...
What was that like, having your own business of having a bed and breakfast in Uganda?
Very good, very nice.
And was it busy?
Very busy, alhamdulillah, very well. But the time I used to be there, it was very busy. When I used to come back, the manager used to say, not busy. You know that. You're not there. Even in Dubai, Al Khalil, we were on the Al Khalil road. It was called Al Fasli. That was also very good.
When did you open your bed and breakfast in Dubai?
In 1998.
Okay. What made you do that?
Just I used to stay in that hotel, and one day I was talking to the manager, and he said, the partner of Sheikh is leaving, you can join it if you want to. So I joined it. And I have my experience of bed and breakfast, very good experience of bed and breakfast. I'm a good cook as well. And so I started with them. So I told him that I made some changes in that place and all this, and alhamdulillah, it got busy then. Putting some changes in that. But personally, I won't go back and have with any sheikh, any business.
So, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about your time in Uganda, in Pakistan, in UK?
I have told you most of the things, but I can't disclose you Pakistan, my activities of social, of politics, because that will, there are a lot of things which we have gone to, bringing Bhutto, taking Bhutto down, all these things. We have been unions of students and all these things, and we've done a lot of things. So those I can't disclose.
That's right.
And here I have been as my holy teacher told me, he took me, I've been with my head down. Mostly I've been with my head down, and I worked very hard to build myself up. This place I built up. Each and every nail in this place is done with me, my own hands. Alhamdulillah, it's one of the best laundrette in Lancashire now.
MashaAllah. And now you're spending your life in Rochdale?
Yes, my life in Rochdale.
Do you have family in Rochdale? Extended family?
Yeah, my brothers and sisters are here. They are all here. My one sister, I just told you before, she just passed away in 1st of November 2020. That's the loss we had. Before that, 1 year before that, my father passed away. So.
And what about your mum?
My mum passed away 6-7 years before.
In Rochdale?
She's buried in Rochdale. My father is buried in Pakistan because my father always had a hope that he wants to be buried near his mother.
Okay.
So when he went to Pakistan this last time, so he passed away there and he got a place near his mother.
Baijan, is there anything that you want the listeners to remember you by from this interview?
I will just tell them the memories, don't sit on memories, they hurt too much. And that memories destroys your health. The biggest enemy of a person is the memory. Memory destroys your health. Look after your health. The health is your best friend, best mate, is your wife, is your son, is your brother, is your daughter, is everything. If you don't have health, none of them are yours. That I learned very hard way. That very hard way I learned. Nobody is yours. Your health is yours. Look after it. Please look after it. If you have no health, nobody will look after you. Will say, "Dafa kyun nahi hota? Let him die." Nobody will visit you. And see what is happening now in hospitals. Nobody is visiting you. Nobody is visiting you. Take care of yourself. Don't let Corona hit you hard. Look after yourself. Look after your health. Health is wealth. Money can't buy you anything. Even if you are a billionaire and you not got a health, you are finished. Everybody will come for money. They won't come for you. They won't. So be a good friend with your own health. That's the very hard way I learned. And I tell everybody. Even on my Facebook, I've written that one. I got about 1,500, 1,600 hits on it. What about this small thing I wrote on Facebook? And on WhatsApp I also put. And I put some very good quotes on it. And some quotes are what I brought out in my mind. I do that.
On behalf of Crescent Radio, Baijan, we'd like to wish you the best of health.
Thank you very much.
We wish you and your family all the very best of health.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you very much for calling me. I got many things to tell you, but I can't. It's too long, too much. And you don't have much time for me.
Inshallah, we can always make more time in the future.
Because we have not disclosed Africa yet. So a lot of things are there. But I just told you the basic things. And alhamdulillah. But tell your viewers, just look after their health. What is done, done. Start it now. Start it now. Nobody's going to be yours. Nobody's going to be yours.
Thank you, Baijan.
Thank you.